I used to be a surgeon like you, until I took an arrow to the knee.
No!
Help! Someone's being attacked! Help! I'm being attacked!
Hello friends, my name is Dante, and today I'm gonna try to beat The Last of Us without taking any damage. Can it be done? Will the gods be on my side? I'll be playing on one of the hardest difficulties possible, which means no listen mode. Enemies are extremely aggressive, and supplies are almost non-existent. For every time I take even a smidgen of damage, I have to slap a small child, which in this case would be Ellie. In fact, I started my journey off as a small child. My papa wasn't in the house and it was my job to find him. I went into my papa's bedroom, celebrated the 4th of July, and finally found my pops loading a revolver downstairs. He was all spooked out and told me that there was something wrong with the Coopers. Jesus Christ! It was one of them goddamn burglars. Pops pumped his guts full of lead and we yeeted ourselves out of that situation. Brother Tommy was ready to go and off we went to the city. It was a pretty epic ride actually. We watched an entire house burn down, we ditched some losers that were walking on the side of the highway, and we even watched a guy get softly patted down like a conga. Oh hell yeah. Look at him go! Damn! Oh shit! Look at him go! We all collectively agreed that we really didn't want to be conga'd, so we floored it to the next street. Long story short, we got T-boned, Joel busted out of that windshield like a baby chick does out of an egg, and Tommy tried playing Minecraft in real life. Thanks bro, he almost ham-boned my ass. Now can I just say, why the fuck didn't Joel get Sarah to at least put some shoes on? I found myself in the middle of a real sticky situation and it occurred to me right then and there, I probably should have stayed home today. Tommy and I retreated to an alley, he slammed the gate at supersonic speed, and I don't even know what to say here. All I knew was that something wasn't right with this boy. I was about ready to trudge on ahead when I heard something. Oh shoot, there's a boy right there! I was gonna tell Tommy that maybe he should take that creature out since, you know, he was the one with the gun, but he was completely out of it. I'm proud to admit that I didn't take any damage during this intro sequence. And of course, Sarah's intestines become spaghetti, but let's just skip that part. It was a new day and a new place, and I was making all kinds of friends.
Next time I'm gonna put a bullet in your head.
I even said hello to the couple that sat on the random sidewalk bus seat every morning. They were my best friends in the city. Tess and I were about to see Robert on the other side of town when Big Boom Boom happened. And oh shit! Oh, for the love of, can I please just get through one challenge without failing instantly? So yeah, I was forced to take damage here and I was very upset about that. Just throw a damage counter in the bottom left corner. Are there any small children around here? After a bit of sneaking around, Tess and I came across the poor man stuck under the thousands of pounds of rubble. Literally every playthrough I've done of The Last of Us, I've had to leave this innocent man behind. But not today! I promised that the next time I did a challenge on this game, I'd splatter this poor man's brains all over the walls and ceiling. I might have gotten a bit carried away. Bruh. I was feeling powerful as heck after putting that man in his grave. I had a bloodlust that could only be quenched with more death. And just my luck, there was a fresh horde of ham-bonists ripe for the picking. Just to reiterate, I was not able to use listen mode at all during this challenge, and I had to make sure to avoid melee fighting at all costs because the lightest slap would send me into the fro zone. In fact, the reason I chose the survivor difficulty instead of grounded is because on grounded, you don't have a HUD, and no HUD means no way of tracking your health. Now, you might be saying, oh Dante, you can still tell when you take damage on grounded. Yeah, I know that, but I wanted solid proof up on screen at all times. Anyway, I took care of these boys with my slightly above average aim, threatened a small child to make me feel better about myself, and here we arrived to 3 tough guys. This town ain't big enough for the 2 of us. With 2 more headshots to my name and a fat stack of ammo in my back pocket, I was feeling like a real badass. This is where I got to use my secret weapon of the run, the chokeout. It was so useful in saving ammo and avoiding confrontations.
I like watching you work.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
So like I was saying, anytime I could use stealth throughout this challenge, I would. It wasn't as exciting as running in there and ham-boning my enemies to death, but at least it was easy to avoid damage that way. We confront Robert, I rotate his arm at a 90-degree angle, and we meet the queen of the fireflies, Marlene.
We can sneak by them, even though I know that's not your style. Much further now.
What are you talking about? I do find it funny how this guy somehow couldn't see me behind his buddy. The rest of this bit is pretty self-explanatory. We meet Ellie, we get caught the moment we step out of the quarantine zone, and we escape the big bad army men. I will admit, I choked this guy out even though I totally could have just walked by him. Am I going to hell? Probably. But you know what they say, when an apple is ripe for the taking, choke a motherfucker out. I'm sad to say, here's where I take some more unavoidable damage. A clicker yeets herself out of nowhere after I open a door with Tess, and no matter how many times I press square, the little cutie just won't get lost without me taking damage. Oh boy! Can't wait to use yet another medkit. This next part was tough, boys. I was trying to save as much ammo as I could by choking fools out, so naturally I had to replay this part over and over again to get it just right. Eventually, I somehow wasted every single one of my bullets on a single clicker, but because God was watching over me, the clicker's corpse gifted me 4 extra revolver bullets just in case we were ever in a pinch. 1 for me, 1 for Tess, and 2 for Ellie because she really pisses me off. This next room was a pain. Infected can hear you even while you're crouched, so it's really difficult to sneak up on them. I had my eye on this one vulnerable infected, and as I inched my way closer and closer to it, Tess came stomping out of nowhere and pushed the damn thing out of her way. Look at this shit! Now do you guys see why I bully my AI sidekicks? Tess needed my help now more than ever, and I knew exactly what I needed to do. Funnily enough, this single Molotov was enough to defeat 4 clickers. I don't know how I do it, but I continue to impress myself every single day. I did have to be careful with Molotovs throughout this journey though, because throwing them too close to myself was a one-way ticket to me failing the challenge. As we were getting ready to leave the quarantine zone forever, we were ambushed by a flock of hooligans. It was a real nerve-wracking moment, and Joel was close to getting slapped to death, but luckily he slipped under the gate just in time.
You got something on your shoe. Gross.
Right when I thought things couldn't get any better, Tessfalon bent over right in front of me. Don't worry, I think Joel was into it more than I was. Egad! I've always hated pottery.
Ow, shit! Sorry, that was me.
If you guys hate pottery as much as I do, click the like button below this video to show your support. Listen, normally I skip by these boring or insignificant parts, but look at this. I just got done taking out 3 guys, okay? The first guy I choked out, which made me get spotted by the second guy. For some reason, the second guy ran towards me in fear and I easily knocked him the hell out. At this point, I was already kind of questioning the AI of these enemies, but this next part sealed the deal. I smacked this third guy around, somehow miraculously dodged all incoming bullets, and hid in the nearby room. I heard someone getting closer and closer to me, and I was freaking the hell out. Upon turning around, the mad lad was literally within arm's reach of me and somehow didn't see me. And then Ellie comes charging into the room, runs into him, and he still doesn't see us. I can't make this stuff up, man. I think we can all agree that I didn't kill him. It was natural selection. If you guys want to see all of the hardest battles I did, including this one, they'll all be on my Dante Ravioli proof channel. Anyway, it was time to go to Tubby Town. You know me. Of course I had to meme around just for the hell of it. It's the simple things in life that make me happy. Including this. I call it Joel the Pothead. Tubby's trap was easy. Running away from the infected was easy. Tubby turning into the real-life version of Sonic to save us scarred me for life. The garden full of clickers was pretty spooky, and it took me a few attempts to get through it unscathed, but this whole section wasn't overly bad. Heck, we all had about enough of this adventure, so we all took a swing break. Ellie seemed to be enjoying it. Tubby seemed to be enjoying it, and by the time we left, the swings were completely dismantled and broken. Somehow we even crossed the swing ropes over each other. It's bloater time, baby. Now at first, I thought this fight would be challenging. All the bloater has to do is send his spore pockets my way, and a single whiff will put me in the fro zone. But surprisingly, as long as I was light on my feet, the spore clouds would never touch me. Hell yeah! I burned that bloater alive like the witch he was, took his friends out to lunch, and broke it down after a well-deserved victory royale.
That's more of my stuff. So what, you just gonna steal my shit and run off?
Yes. Listen, man, I'm sorry you lost your male lover. I couldn't imagine losing someone that close to you. Maybe if you weren't such a piece of shit, you'd have more friends. We epically owned the undead. Tubby stole my kill like we were in the middle of a Call of Duty match, and we left that cursed town forever. Ellie and I were greeted by some new friends in a very special way, and surprisingly, I took 0 damage from this whole fiasco. I can't say the same for my homeboys though. This part was really tricky and I had to redo it multiple times, but as always, I eventually muscled my way through it. Guys, listen. I want you to really listen, okay? How do they not hear that? Bruh.
Help, I'm being attacked! Help me! Oh!
This next portion literally took me an hour to figure out, and if you guys want to see some awesome Ravioli strats, it'll be on my proof channel. You know the drill. I choked out some enemies who had the worst peripheral vision I've ever seen. I fell into the spooky basement, and here was probably one of the toughest parts of this adventure. We're introduced to some new enemies called stalkers. They're quick as heck, tough as nails, and they hide like cowards. Normally, this part wouldn't be so bad, but I don't have ammo to spare, capiche? So I did what any man would do. Grabbed the security room card, took out a few of the mentally insane ham boners, and pumped the generator the way it was meant to be pumped. I was paralyzed with fear as I waited for the bloater, and the moment I saw that boy come at me, I ran for my damn life. After taking out one of the conga players with my shotgun, the rest of the psychos took the hint, so I was free to leave that horrible place forever. After Ellie saved me from drowning in a puddle, I finally trusted her with a weapon, and this part is truly what made me a man. At one point, I was trapped in a small room with nowhere else to run to, so I waited. Boy oh boy, was this ever the right place to be, because these boys just kept piling in. You'd think you'd avoid the room that was filled with your friends' fresh dead bodies, but should I really be surprised at this point? Here's yet another instance of these guys being dumber than a piece of bread. So these two guys went searching for Ellie and I, okay? Everything was super quiet and we were doing fine. But then Ellie and Joel flat out start having a loud conversation just a few feet away from these guys.
Hearing them talk, at least they're scared of us.
Just try not to let your guard down.
I'm just saying, it's good having you on my side. That was a compliment.
Okay.
Dude, I can't make this shit up. This game is too ridiculous, man. Surprisingly, I was able to outrun the Humvee without getting shot, and Ellie and I met our new friends, Henry and Sam. This one guy thought he could outrun my shotgun shells if he was fast enough, but newsflash, he wasn't fast enough. I came across this shiv door, and even though I already had a shiv ready to go, apparently I needed a full shiv to open it. Literally, all I was missing was a quarter scissors. I was hoping that before we got to Henry's crib, he'd sauce me over some scissors, you know? Or maybe I'd find some myself. But no, 'twas not to be. Henry stared at me, waiting for me to join the crew in his secret hidey spot, but I was not ready to go. I was pissed that he wasn't willing to sauce me over just a quarter scissors, but being the bigger man, I let it go. You piece of shit! So the squad meets up at the local beach, I protect Sam like a complete badass, and we all start getting chased by some more hooligans. Henry 360 no-scoped the door with his foot, which meant one thing, and one thing only. This was serious. After half a dozen tries, I was able to weasel my way out of that situation, and it was time to meet Billy Boy the Sniper. This part wasn't super hard, but I'll tell you one thing. It was super spooky. I had made my way to the backyards and I was waiting for Billy Boy's buddies to charge into my room, where I'd then greet them with my shotgun. Imagine my surprise when the first guy I shot fell into the floor. He was like a little friggin' goblin trying to snatch at my toes. I thought the nightmare was over after I plowed him with my shotgun, but I immediately got attacked by his gang of tiny friends. I took these boys out so gracefully that one of them even started breakdancing to celebrate my great accomplishment. After living through that horrible situation, I just had to tell Henry about it. I must have really scared the guy because he started freaking the heck out. He kept going on and on about how he didn't ever want to live through what I lived through, and after annihilating his little brother, he pulled the gun on himself. At least I had a pretty epic story to tell my future grandchildren, I guess. Ellie and I finally arrived at Tommy's, and holy heck, I was already experiencing some weird phenomenon.
I am the speaker of the trees.
I pet a cute little dog, killed some rascally scoundrels the good old-fashioned way, and saved Ellie and the other girl. I told Tommy that I wanted to give Ellie up for adoption, and she got really upset about that. So upset to the point that she stole one of Tommy's horses and took off. See, this is exactly why I wanted to get rid of her. So Tommy and I rode off after her. I became the second coming of Christ, and oh my lord was it ever terrifying. There's nothing more frightening than a T-posing man with a hatchet moving at Mach 5 speed. Unfortunately, I have to add another unavoidable damage count. When I hop over the log with my horse, I get a Molotov thrown at me and this takes off a schmeckle of my health. But even just a schmeckle of health, no matter how small, is still counted as taking damage. Tommy and I finally found Ellie and we had a heated argument, but in the end, I decided it was best I put her up for adoption. Ellie was heartbroken and I felt like a complete piece of shit for letting her down. Now I knew what it felt like to be Bill. You know, after making a well thought out pros and cons list, I decided to keep the little rascal. After all, I was supposed to slap a small child anytime I took damage, so it'd be stupid not to take her with me. That reminds me, you still owe me a slap for the damage I took chasing after you. And another one for good old time's sake. I cremated a group of ham-boners, melted the mushroom boys in the university dorms, and took out David's boys with the grace of a small deer. And here's a big question mark for the run. Joel falling onto the rebar. Did he take damage or not? During this part, no matter what difficulty you play on, you can't see your health bar and you can't heal. So does this count or not? We'll get back to that in a minute.
That's the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Now it's time to take control of Ellie. This part of the adventure is easy enough. The only limitation I have is to not get smacked by enemies. How hard could it be? During the battle, David yelled at me to help him move a metal cabinet over a nearby window. But because I have big IQ like Deji,
my IQ level's 189. That is a very high IQ, okay?
I flashbacked to previous playthroughs where a clicker tickles you through the window crack. So I passed David's offer like mashed potatoes during Christmas dinner. At one point, I thought it was all over when an infected came sprinting at me while I was in the middle of reloading. I screamed in terror and accepted my death, but right before the runner smacked me, David the absolute beast saved me in the nick of time. To be honest, every single Ellie part was extremely easy, even the fight with David. So I won't be talking much about her. Instead, I'll talk about Joel. When Joel woke up, I noticed that his health was halfway down. That means that when Joel fell on the rebar, he did actually take damage because my health was full at the time. So I guess I'll count that as taking damage. Joel's parts weren't any harder than anything I've done before. In fact, this whole winter sequence was pretty straightforward. This brings us to the endgame, boys. Ellie and I watched some beautiful giraffes graze across the apocalyptic rundown city. I turned into a little goblin to collect some spare parts, and here was my final inventory. I was absolutely stocked and ready for battle. I had a lot of fun with the final infected fight. Immediately after that, I was thrown into the toughest battle of the game. I spent about 2 hours trying to get this fight down perfectly. By the end of it, my aim was so good that even I was starting to question if I was using aimbot. After a long, hard, rewarding battle that you should definitely check out on my proof channel, I finally entered into the surgery room.
What are you doing in here?
You fucking animal!
I'm not the monster here, you are!
Oh, it burns! I'm on fire!
Let me guess, someone stole your sweet rolls? I took my baby girl off of that operating table and promised I'd never do anything to harm her again. I was a monster, slapping her around for no reason, wanting to put her up for adoption, and putting her down any chance I got.
Your mom gay!
Is that like a personal attack or something?
It was time to stop. After saying goodbye to Marlene and putting Ellie in the getaway car, I bounced out of there once and for all. I may have lost lots of friends along the way, came across lots of hilarious glitches, and fought against the stupidest enemies of all time for absolutely no reason at all, but at least I still had Ellie. So in the end, I wasn't able to beat The Last of Us without taking any damage. Subscribe to me if you like The Last of Us, because I'll be doing a full playthrough of The Last of Us 2 the day it comes out. Will I be disappointed? Probably. But I've waited 7 years for this moment, goddammit. Thanks for watching. Check out the many other gaming challenge videos on my channel, and I'll see you. Thick boys! In my next video.